From The Office to Schitt's Creek to, well, most sitcoms now and forever, the use of the village idiot, the bumbling sidekick, or the brainless beauty is a staple of the genre. Today I want to look at and rank the dumbest characters in modern sitcoms. Now, fair warning, I haven't seen all modern sitcoms, so if I'm missing anyone, be sure to leave a comment letting me know that I'm the stupidest person on modern YouTube.
This is why you have ground rules, David. Josh Groban has a thick leather-bound binder full of them.
On screen now is the requirements for appearing on my list and how I'm going to be ranking them. Also, spoiler warning for these shows. Creating this list, though, I got really intrigued with the history of writing fools into our stories. So if you want to skip that and go directly to the list, timestamps on the screen for you. If there's one thing that humans love to do, it's tell stories. Whether it's ancient humans using makeshift paints to draw stuff on cave walls, to the Epic of Gilgamesh, to the epic of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we love entertaining each other with a plethora of genres and corresponding messages meant to convey deeper meanings. With thousands of years of recorded storytelling, certain tropes have emerged. Concepts like the three-act structure, the hero's journey, and the abundance of character archetypes and plots have emerged. I'm privy to modern sitcoms, it's what I've built my entire channel off of, and the endless well that sitcom writers draw from is any number of stupidity-based tropes. Whether it's the brutish bonehead, the dull dad, the half-witted henchman, the ludicrously literal, the gullible guard, or the all-too-convenient idiot savant, stupid characters are a part of modern storytelling. While these foolish characters are employed mostly for comic relief, their usage is actually a little bit deeper than that. Writers use these dum-dums for a bunch of reasons. For example, many stories use the fool in order to allow the audience to quickly characterize everyone who comes in contact with them. Good guys tend to handle fools with a begrudging respect, and bad guys tend to mistreat them. Kind of like, yeah, he's an idiot, but he's our idiot.
Why is Jim treating the magician poorly?
Another trope we frequently see is that the bumbling sidekick often acts as the hero's moral compass. They're so dumb, and so often stick their foot in their mouths, that they're generally given the freedom to speak their minds on what they perceive. Often writers use these dullards to exposit the virtues or inequities of a path ahead, or just call out evil as they see it.
Kevin, great to see you.
Yeah. Thank you for the food. Oh, and also, you suck.
And lastly, the fool invites us to look at ourselves a little closer, at the fool within. As J. Philip Newell says in his book Shakespeare and the Human Mystery, the fool is calling us to be truly ourselves and points out the falseness of what we have become. He is not, however, over and against his hearers. Rather, he invites them to discover the fool within themselves. In All's Well That Ends Well, when Perrault says that he found the fool, the clown replies, "Did you find me in yourself, sir?"
Do not bring Shakespeare into this.
And the way I interpret this is that writers use the fool to comment on the human condition in ways that the heroes and villains just can't do as effectively, using levity or the obvious fallacies of the dimwit to allow introspection, and thus be able to see the fool in ourselves. So see, the fool's real deep, but I do think we should talk about one more thing real quick, because it's going to pop up a few times in this list, and that's the Flanderization process. In grand epics like, let's say, Lord of the Rings, the authors have a massive world, a huge story, which entails a limited set of perspectives. The general plot, character arcs, and tones are really firmly implanted in the writer's mind, meaning the fool has a purpose to serve, and that purpose is clearly on the mind of the writer from the beginning, into the middle, and at the end of the story. On the other hand, most of our episodic content we're going to be talking about today, that was not the case. The initial arcs were discussed, and then each episode would generally represent an individual story. A noted side effect of this is the fool character continues to get dumber and dumber and dumber and dumber throughout the run of the series. This process of characters being boiled down to the least common denominator is called Flanderization, and I think it happens due to a variety of reasons for different shows. On The Office, for example, my gut is that the story arcs and drama became much more complex and centric to the show over time, and thus it crowded out these ancillary characters, rendering them down to just fill in whatever type of joke the script called for.
Kevin, I can't decide between a fat joke and a dumb joke, boom, roasted.
Convenience over depth. And if you're more interested in that topic, just go Google Flanderization, and I'm sure you're going to get a ton of examples. And so with that, let's get this list going. The top 10 dumbest characters of modern sitcoms. Starting up at number 10 is Phil from Modern Family.
Always look people in the eye. Even if they're blind, just say, I'm looking you in the eye. I'm betting these babies are coming back in a big way. Buy low, sell high. People are gonna see this and say, that guy's high. You know why? Because while everyone's chasing each other around outside the box, you know what the box is? Empty.
So the patriarch of the Dunphy family takes the lowest spot on our list, as his intelligence seems to range based on the situation he's in. Loving father and husband, Phil's character is a perfect fit for both the bumbling dad trope and the kind-hearted simpleton trope. He often does something dumb as a dad, says something dumb as a dad, or his optimism has him blinded to see how dark things really are.
Oh my God, put on a shirt!
I don't know what you want from me!
A thing we're going to see with most of these characters, though, Phil may not be the sharpest tool in the shed. He is compassionate and well-meaning, most of the time.
Come on, Dad, let's not turn on each other. We could be here a while.
Yeah, okay, you're right. Here we go. Take eye.
You're not even trying.
Next up on the list is Alexis Rose.
And a little bit of la 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 la. A little bit of Alexis.
Schitt's Creek is a series I haven't gotten a chance to talk a lot about yet on my channel. If you haven't watched it, I definitely recommend it. I will say if the series hadn't won so many awards in its last season, I probably would have given up on it early. Well, I'm glad I didn't. I thought the show was going to be situational setup, and then the constant joke would be, oh, I'm rich, I don't get it. And while there is plenty of that, the show actually has a surprising amount of depth and laughs. And while a lot of the characters in the series are airheads, Alexis Rose seems to fall into this brainless beauty trope quite nicely. Sprinkle in the rich people are out of touch idiots trope, and a dash of dits, and you get Alexis Rose. In fairness, that's just where she starts. The youngest child of the fallen Rose video dynasty has quite an arc, which probably made writing for her a lot of fun. While she maintains that nitwit personality throughout the series, they do this cool thing in which, as she finds purpose, she also educates herself and betters herself, almost sealing in the message that Alexis wasn't dumb. She just lacked any reason to actually care to learn anything, which I think is both a fun play on this trope, but also really well written.
And try getting into Kiss Kiss in Tokyo without a lock of human hair.
Now, you see, if you can do all that, I'm pretty sure that you can learn to ride a bike.
Next up, and probably up for a lot of debate, is Michael Scott.
Today I got up, I stepped onto the grill, and I clamped down on my foot. That's it. I don't see what's so hard to believe about that. I declare bankruptcy! Wow, a lot of calories.
Well, just don't leave it on too long. Keep massaging, please.
The manager of Dunder Mifflin Scranton is a veritable cornucopia of foolish to smart things, which makes him really hard to rank and even pin if he belongs on this list. I'd say he earns a spot as thinks of something smart to say but says something stupid instead is a key character trait.
That is sort of an oaky afterbirth.
Prodigal. My son returns. Two queens on casino night. I am going to drop a deuce on everybody. It is ergonomically correct.
No rest for the sick.
Remember Spider-Face?
No.
Okay, because the quote was, cut off your nose to Spider-Face.
I am not to be truffled with. My mind is going a mile an hour.
That fast.
Oh.
Ho, ho, ho! Contraption! She's contrapting!
And like I'm gonna believe one of his sperm lovers.
Well, well, well. How the turntables...
On top of his Michaelisms, the writers often propel the plots of any given episode through the didn't think this plan through trope.
I drove my car into a lake.
One reason Michael is so low on this list is that the writers throughout the series depicted him as pretty adept at his job, albeit maybe he was promoted too early. Michael's intelligence does seem to fluctuate depending on who's writing for him, and he's shown to pick up on social cues in one episode and fails to do so in the next. He understands business sometimes and is a buffoon other times. Analyzing every episode of The Office on my channel has forced me to rethink Michael as a character. I'd not go as far to call him an idiot savant, but he's not just an idiot.
Jim Halpert is smudge and arrogant.
I think you mean smug.
Next up on the list, Randy Hickey from My Name is Earl.
I bet Eric Estrada can't catch 50 pennies on his elbow.
What have I told you about throwing guns?
All right, not to do it. Hey, there's a half a kitty cat up here.
Now this is a character who I think I could have put anywhere on the list. I almost removed him and placed him as just an honorable mention. Randy is dense, and he is the definition of the bumbling sidekick. He lacks social skills, he's a man-child, but worse for him is that the writers use him as what's known as the millstone. Think of a millstone like this. When something goes wrong in any type of drama, it's usually the fault of the millstone. That's Randy. Constantly the source of bad ideas, bad plans, or bad deviations from otherwise good plans or good ideas. Still, Randy is typically charming and lovable enough to earn a spot in our hearts and dumb enough to earn a spot on this list.
Wow, you wouldn't believe what they put inside a kitty cat. It's like really gross soup and snakes.
So that's where he goes. Next up is an oldie but a goodie, and that's Joey Tribbiani.
I won!
Barely making the cutoff for what I would consider a modern sitcom. This is where I really think I start getting in trouble with where I rank everyone. Joey is dumb, but how dumb is he really?
Okay, it's a store like a supermarket. Oh, I see what I did there.
It's made from eggs. Chickens! Pass!
Oh,
You put this on a hamburger.
ketchup!
Yes!
Relish!
Stop.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid. I'm not 100% sure that Joey was eventually Flanderized, or if he simply never had any depth or character change at all. Similar to a lot of characters on this list though, Joey is lovable, he's loyal, and he's overall likable. Like Alexis, he fits into that brainless beauty trope, but unlike her, he lacks really any character development. And while he tends to just be an ancillary character, they did attempt to give him a little bit of depth late in the series. Overall, Joey Tribbiani was always welcomed on my screen.
Go. You put this in your coffee.
A spoon. Your hands. Your face.
It's white.
Paper. Snow. A ghost.
Next up on the list is Andydwyer from Parks and Rec.
Oh, I guess while you get your medicine, I'll just stroll through the candy aisles, but won't get any.
You can buy 2 candies.
2?
Hogwarts is fictional. Do you know that? It's important to me that you know that.
What does this do? This counts as 1.
Okay, Andy had an interesting arc throughout the series. It's a little easy to forget, but he starts out as an idiot douchebag trope, and then he grows throughout the series, at least in his emotional intelligence. He's a constant source of well-meaning foolishness. And while a lot of characters on the show are larger than life, Andy's one of the characters on Parks and Rec, which derails the realism and triggers our suspension of disbelief.
Leslie, I typed your symptoms into the thing up here, and it says you could have network connectivity problems.
Which, while I would normally criticize the show for doing it, Andy's just so much fun. I've always thought of him as a bizarro Ron Swanson, where Ron is presentable down to the most minute detail of his wardrobe. Andy's a mess. Where Andy lacks purpose and drive, Ron has a full presentation on what it takes to win for a middle school basketball team. Where Ron seems to be 100% self-sufficient, Andy is 100% reliant on those around him for his most basic needs. But where Ron and Andy overlap, for different reasons, is having no idea how to act in relationships. Ron acts like a regal but stubborn Highland cow, and Andy's more akin to a 3-legged dog who needs constant care and affection. It's that childlike quality and helplessness that won April and us over to him.
You're gonna make me cry.
Next up on the list is Kevin Malone from The Office.
Angela's cats are cute. So cute that you just want to eat them. But you can't eat cats. You can't eat cats, Kevin. My nickname in high school used to be Kool-Aid Man. I just want to lie on the beach and eat hot dogs. That's all I've ever wanted.
Now we're getting to the good stuff. So Kevin is very dumb. Andy is a key example of a character undergoing Flanderization throughout a series. He keeps going and going and going. And in fairness, there is a well-known fan theory that Kevin's actually pretending to be stupider than he really is. And while this may just be fans trying to justify the behind-the-scenes writing for the character, Kevin does have a money problem throughout the series, and yet in the finale, he's got enough cheddar to buy that bar. Now that is explained in a deleted scene, but I mean, that's not really how money works.
I do the numbers.
Oh, good for you.
But taking a more straightforward approach to the character, barring a few notable mentions, Malone is always depicted as a big, dumb, lovable teddy bear. Albeit, he does get frightfully close to the too dumb to live trope.
The turtle was already dead. Probably when I ran over him the first time.
Now we're getting to the final three. Next up is Troy Barnes from Community.
He gets distracted by loud noises, the color red, smooth jazz, shiny things, food smells, music boxes, bell-bottoms, boobs, barking dogs, and anyone saying, "Look over there."
Chipmunk. You can yell at me all you want. I've seen enough movies to know that popping the back of a raft makes it go fast.
There's no way around this. Troy is so dumb that trying to think of what all should be included in a little montage of his stupidity, it was kind of a struggle, because when isn't he saying something dumb? Troy again seems to be a clear victim of flanderization, as he goes from a dumb jock trope to almost the too stupid to live trope.
Guys? What does a pregnancy test look like?
No, it's like a thin piece of plastic with a thing on the end of it.
Okay, so this is definitely a gun.
But again, Troy has this good heart. He treats everyone in the gang with respect, he has their back, and is genuinely a good guy. Not to mention his relationship with Abed became a well the writers would return to, often for comedy and for heartwarming moments.
City College is trying to destroy Greendale, and they're an unstoppable juggernaut.
Then our number 2 spot on our list is a tie with Hitchcock and Scully from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
We're a package deal, everyone knows that.
Okay, this duo earns a near top spot on our list because almost every single interaction in the show fit the idiot investigator trope. Kind of, because we rarely ever see them actually do work.
But Scully and I have a combined total of 14 arrests. Would have been 20, but we only got 14.
That's not enough arrests.
Well, no one asked you.
Hitchcock and Scully instead seem to be two lovable lugs biding their time for retirement, with the only intensity that they bring to the office is a fierce protection of their food and their comfort.
We snuck the microwave out here so that we could cook our burritos like real policemen.
Now they have to use the toaster oven. Enjoy your 60-minute cook times, idiots.
And the comedy from these characters is largely produced from the randomness of their reactions to whatever's happening in any given episode.
Got any ideas?
Hitchcock and Scully just set fire to the kitchen sink.
Oh boy! Oh boy! Perfect. Let's use that.
They fit nicely in our cast of characters. They have no mean spirit in their body. They're dumb, they're close to retirement, and they know what they like. And that's something I could definitely see myself in. Thanks, Shakespeare.
You're a genius. We're both geniuses. Thumbtack bug.
And that does bring us to a quick list of honorable mentions. And that would include Phoebe Buffay from Friends, Erin Hannon from The Office, who's basically a female Kevin with a little bit more plot depth, Tracy Jordan from 30 Rock, who's maybe best described as chaotic stupid, Kelso from That 70s Show, and I'm told that essentially every character from It's Always Sunny has bouts of maddening stupidity from episode to episode. Now, I've never watched that one all the way through, so that's why none of them made this official list. Now, with all that out of the way, let's talk about the character I'd consider the absolute dumbest character ever written in a modern sitcom. And that would be Jason Mendoza from The Good Place.
A failed DJ from Jacksonville, Florida.
I wasn't a failed DJ, I was pre-successful.
The Good Place is a great and wildly weird show. Similar to Schitt's Creek, the character development in the series was tight and centric to the nature of the show itself. In a world of streaming, it's a great example of a network series defined and crafted from start to finish. Each of our 4 humans on the show represent a different classical temperament, with Eleanor representing the serious, thoughtful, worried, melancholic.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
I think you mean bad news bear.
Chidi is a reasonable, controlled, and calm phlegmatic.
Let's come up with a list of 10 possibilities and then slowly whittle it down over the next 4 days.
Better idea. Let's dance, baby.
Tahani is the egocentric, exhibitionist, busybody choleric.
Every day you teach me something new about art and history and why I shouldn't eat everything that smells good.
And Jason is the easygoing, playful, and content sanguine.
What the fork is happening? I think we might be in an alien zoo or on a prank show.
No, Jean, you were dead.
Whoa, that's a dope prank. Gotta give it up.
It is interesting that Michael Schur is responsible for creating or writing for more than just a few of the characters on this list today. but it seems as though he had something special in mind for Jason.
Jason might not be the smartest guy in the world, but he is the dumbest guy in the world.
He wasn't just content with a healthy dose of foolishness. And while I've said of a few characters on this list that they're almost too stupid to live, that's literally the case for Jason.
Thought of everything except for an alibi and an escape route, but we'll figure it out as we go. Pillboy, I got you. This plan is foolproof.
Jason's dead. He's suffocated in that safe. There are no air holes. Plus he did a bunch of whippets while he was in there, which couldn't have helped.
While physically present all the time, this character is off in another world. His ideal version of heaven is playing Mario Kart and has an interesting solve for most of life's problems.
I'm telling you, Molotov cocktails work. Anytime I had a problem and I threw a Molotov cocktail, boom, right away. I had a different problem.
He makes a strong case.
Even the few times that Jason solves a problem in the series or shares some semblance of intelligence, his reasoning quickly absolves him from any intelligence points he may have earned. But like most people on this list, Jason is kind-hearted, he's sweet, and he's got such a memorable arc from monk to monk.
Before we start, I know you were a Buddhist monk and kept a vow of silence.
Thought about you and the infinity of the universe.
Kind of like a monk.
What do you mean?
And that's why I think Jason Mendoza from The Good Place has earned the top spot as the dumbest character in modern sitcoms. So that's my list. What do you think? Who did I miss? I haven't watched everything, so please let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm doing this Summer of Stupid series on my channel, so subscribe, and each month we're gonna have some dumb fun. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.